The Ranting Geeks Pondercast.
All right, well, welcome to yet another episode of the Ranting Geeks Pondercast. I'm Phantom Six, and joining me here in the virtual venerable Hall of Just Stop are my fellow Ranting Geeks, Mensa Boy, Legend Maker, and the indefatigable Rex Quasar.
Hello.
What? Huh?
These are strange days for the rebellion. James Gunn's Superman has crash landed in theaters, and Matt Shakman's Fantastic Four have taken their first steps. Still visible, but fading quickly on the horizon, are the Thunderbolts, or New Avengers, depending on who you ask. So, superheroes have been on our ranting geeky minds lately, although it's not like that's a particularly unusual thing. But it has brought us to the conversation about movie adaptations of comic book heroes, or television versions as well. Which ones have worked, which ones haven't, and the ever-present questions of why the hell did they decide to make that change? How could they have missed that freaking massive opportunity? And who the hell thought that was a good idea? You know, typical ranting geeky questions. So, I suppose, gentlemen, we can kick it off with current events. You want to start with the Man of Steel, or shall we call Marvel's first family to the floor?
Why don't we start with the Man of Steel, since that's so fresh on our minds since we've just seen it.
Well, we saw just to be clear, we saw Superman, not Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Superman came out first, so start with Superman.
I was using that in the colloquial sense.
Yeah.
James Gunn's 2025 Superman for everybody.
That's right.
So, okay, I'll just wade into it and say there were parts of it that weren't what I expected, but overall I really enjoyed it.
Same here.
I did too.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but probably the one moment that got the biggest guffaw from me didn't even have to do with Superman. It had to do with Guy Gardner when he was brushing off the tanks over in whatever country they're in, and the giant hand flipping the bird came up out of the sand. Yeah. I don't even like that character particularly in the comic books, but that was really well done.
I was going to say,
classic. Loved it.
One of my notes was on that movie was that I really like the Guy Gardner Green Lantern in this adaptation because I'm a Hal Jordan.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
I'm kind of a Hal Jordan guy, and the Gardner version in the comics I always found to be really annoying and just off-putting.
Well, he was supposed to be. He's the Green Lantern who's a jerk.
Yeah, but he cast him so well. I thought Nathan Fillion was perfectly cast for him. He looked incredibly like Guy Gardner. He looked exactly the way that they imagined it when they drew him.
Well, except his uniform, his costume, that was a little bit odd. The Justice Gang thing was a little cheeky. I thought that was fine, and after a while, it was kind of fun to watch it. But I really kind of think there was a big miss there. I would have loved to have seen them in their original costumes, and then in the end switch over to be the Justice Gang in their Justice Gang, matching suits. That kind of would have been cool. But I thought it was great. And Phantom Six, you hit it on the head, man. When flipping the bird came up and knocked that over, I was like, oh my God, why couldn't we have seen something that cool in the Ryan Reynolds?
They did that in the comic, right? Didn't Guy Gardner flip them off with just
if they didn't, they should have.
Yeah,
but wait! Before we go past it, so here's one thing that I'm not familiar with. Just for the sake of the conversation here, for anybody who's listening, probably of the four of us, I'm the one that has the most background with comic books. But my background with comic books kind of stops. Well, that's a whole long story in and of itself. It doesn't stop. It just slows way down about maybe 15 years ago or so. So anyway,
still more than
all that just to say, Rex, you were just talking about the Justice Gang. Is that a thing, or do they make that up for the movie?
No, they made that up, and that's more or less where I kind of fill in that gap, because I've been reading Superman and Green Lantern for many years and decades, so I'm fairly caught up. The latest rebirth, I mean, not the rebirth, but the whole new launch of everything, I kind of dropped off then. I got just totally fatigued, and it was just endless rebooting and rebooting. But it was very clear to me that James Gunn was definitely challenging more legacy level Superman characteristics, and some of the things he even captured with Guy Gardner really come not necessarily Silver Age, but definitely modern times that were.
I stopped reading. I'll tell you the comics I read in the 70s. I read Neil Adams' Batman because I loved the artwork, and I read Marvel's
classic.
I read Marvel Spider-Man religiously for like 10 years. So I got that block. And then after Silver Age, I started I read all the John Byrne Superman because I like the artwork, and so I got that reboot of him during the John Byrne period. I read the Doomsday Death of Superman. So I have like the highlights. But I will say this, James Gunn did something really smart in that he got Superman back to Superman and not sort of introverted, depressed Superman.
Yeah.
He's invulnerable with a heart, which is kind of the character. That's what
I agree with all of that. I just, the only thing about it was it's almost like he went too far, because the thing about this Superman and even that Supergirl is they reminded me too much like college kids or something.
Particularly Supergirl.
Yeah,
and Supergirl reminded me of a drunk college kid.
And Superman was kind of like a sports jock kind of a personality, and I just, I was a geek in high school. I wasn't the sports jock.
Well, he's a farm boy. He's a sweet farm boy, basically.
Yeah,
but I will say that I really liked Henry Cavill's Superman. I didn't have the problem with him being too morose or anything like that a lot of people I've heard have had.
He just didn't get a good story. I mean, Man of Steel kind of started him off.
I think he did the best. He did the best he could with what he had.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he really got to embrace and embody, the essence of the story behind Superman and a message of hope and to try to, yes, I can destroy the world with a sneeze, but hey, you know what? I'm still human. I may not be of this world, but I am of the world. And
I may not be the one to listen to anyway, because I actually liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So there.
I thought Andrew Garfield was okay as Spider-Man.
I didn't dislike him. I mean, I thought he was fine. I just, again, it's actually the same sort of thing. I think that the storylines were the problem there, not so much the actor and the character.
Yeah. No, he was fine. It was interesting because the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man version was more of a kind of a more powerful, self-doubting, but an organic kind of origin, whereas the other guy, I always forget it. What did you just call his name again?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. Yeah, his felt more natural. He felt more wiry, and lanky, like we kind of learned a little bit with Peter Parker, especially when Todd McFarlane had his run. He was just the way his body type fit the Spider-Man in the comics a little bit better. And now Tom, whatever his name is, Holland. Yeah. He for me represents the young Peter Parker kind of thing. And I feel like they're all pretty good. I don't know. It's for me, I'm still waiting for that perfect.
The Spider-Man movies have been pretty good. All of them have been pretty good. They have their highlights and the lowlights.
Well, so since you said that, I'm going to put this in the back of your head. Don't answer it right now. We're going to come back to this at the end of the podcast. If you had to pick one superhero themed movie as your favorite, which one would it be? So, like I said, don't answer that now. Only one.
What everyone's going to say too.
Only one.
Yeah, that's an easy one for me.
Hold your hand up.
I know what yours is.
Hold your hand up and pull 4 fingers down. However many fingers are left up, that's how many we're going to pick. One. Okay.
Not 20? Oh,
well, it also depends upon which finger which is left up.
Oh, stop! I'm not Guy Gardner.
And that depends if you're the Green Lantern. Yeah. So who goes first?
About what? No, we're not answering it now. This is for the end. Well, this is the end of the podcast.
I wanted to say one more thing about the James Gunn Superman movie. The thing that I felt was really interesting, and I wasn't really prepared for it, but I really liked it, especially after I heard an interview, him provide an interview at the San Diego Comic-Con, was that we just jumped right into the movie from the beginning. We didn't really belabor and drag on with an origin story. It just kind of went into it. It was 3 years
Yeah.
into the reveal or to the
I
his,
thought that was very clever how he with title cards
Yeah.
of threes. It was all in threes, right? Like 3 years ago he appeared.
Yeah,
Three,
that was pretty good. I like
and,
that.
yeah, 3 minutes ago he was in this fight,
yeah, I love the
3 seconds
countdown to the
ago he's
moment.
falling into the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that was cool. But what he said in the interview was he said what he was trying to do with that opening was to try to capture the thing that we all did or we all had when we were kids or we were younger, or anyone who picks up a comic book because they thought the cover was cool. And then
Yeah.
when they open it up, they're right in the middle of a
Yeah,
story.
that's
I
true.
was going to say exactly that same thing.
Yep.
That's
That's
what
true.
it felt like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a great way to start because none of the other films really started that way. And that's the attention span of today's audience. Absolutely.
And he made a great point about the origin story. He said here's the thing is that you learn about the character immediately through the actions that you're seeing on the page. So you are getting a sense of who they are by the decisions and the actions they take, but you also it draws you deeper into the character to where you want to learn more about the origin. You don't want to just be force-fed from the very beginning.
Well,
Well,
we've all seen that origin
yeah,
story.
exactly. So
That's
many
right.
times, it's like every movie has to put the origin story. And it's like, okay, we
Yeah.
get that part.
Like if I see Superman rocket ship lift off or Batman's parents shot again in an alley,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like we
but
get it, we get it.
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Well, they
that was
kind of
that,
skipped, Spider-Man's origin story and the Homecoming stuff and whatnot too. They just,
yeah,
Well,
that's
you
true.
don't
We
need
did
to see
learn a
him get
little
bit
bit.
by a spider again.
Yeah. But I really appreciated that. At first, like I said, I had to adjust to it. Oh, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And
yeah,
then later I thought, you know what? I just really I enjoyed that. I thought that was a great way to bring it forward again, still keep it fresh but familiar. I love the kind of more of the positive thing. A lot of people had feedback about it that he wasn't this version of Superman in that movie wasn't imposing. He was constantly getting his butt kicked.
He
And I
was.
thought,
That's not
well,
wrong.
I know, but we're talking Lex Luthor had 3 years to pull this plan together. He had all these things. What the movie was basically showing us is the fruition and the actual execution of his 3-year plan before us. And of course, how can Superman not get his butt kicked when he's basically fighting himself? And,
Well, also,
so I thought it was all when it all kind of came together. I thought, okay, watching this thing a second time is really going to be a different experience than watching
yeah,
it the first time.
if your
yeah.
hero's not a little vulnerable, he's not relatable. And if he's not relatable, you can't root for him, which is what he's trying to
I
get us.
think I get that and I agree with that, but I think like he was maybe a little too vulnerable in this one.
Well, he was very vulnerable, but one of the Superman challenges is he's so invulnerable, which is boring, right? So,
Well, it could be invulnerability could actually be very cool if the story is if you're invulnerable to everything, how can you feel? So there's a lot of different approaches you can really kind of take when you look at the topic more of, oh, well, we need to make him normal. Well, no,
a lot
why
of
not make him normal?
filmmakers and comic writers have struggled with that. That's
Oh, I know, but then you have Hollywood who doesn't really understand positive, superhero imagery, and it's
well, maybe James Gunn does. That was pretty positive.
I think he took a really good step in that direction.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said the only thing is that he also sprinkled it with some things that really annoyed me, like Hawk Girl, her screaming and all that.
I just felt like the whole movie could have gone by without her, for as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The only thing I liked about her is she killed the bad guy.
You know what? I couldn't even care less. I mean, Mr. Terrific, he was like, I loved him.
That was probably my favorite character of the movie.
Yeah, he was cool.
He was
cool.
better than I expected he would be, because I'm not a big I didn't really in the Justice League ones. I didn't like Cyborg at all.
Yeah.
But this character, who's kind of like Cyborg in a way, I'm not familiar with him in the comics at all.
I'm only
He's
vaguely familiar with him myself.
He's
he's a
really
background
interesting.
character. He started out as a secondary character who they brought forward, and then he kind of went back into the background. But he's different from Cyborg because he's not only confident and knowledgeable, but he's got a little bit of swag. He's got a little bit of an attitude.
Well, and he's not a
And
cyborg.
well, yeah, he's not a cyborg.
Oh,
but
there's that.
but he was just something different and fresh, and both him and Guy Gardner, believe it or not, I wanted to see more of those
Yeah, me too.
characters.
Me too.
So
Yeah,
which
and
Well, you
which is
will, because
rare.
they're in the Lantern show coming up, and they're in Peacemaker, and they're going to be in the next Superman.
yeah,
Which
they're
I'm
cool.
I'm really looking forward to the Lanterns. I mean they could really, mess it
that would
up,
be
but I
interesting.
hope not.
Well,
What was
they cast Kyle Chandler as
Hal Jordan. Yeah.
which I think is a good casting decision. And
Yeah. I would agree.
Oh,
they got
you're
John
talking
Cena.
about casting.
Oh yeah. Well, casting in the Superman movie, I thought was overall pretty damn good.
Yeah,
Blank.
except
I Lex.
I
Go ahead.
did not like Krypto, honestly.
Okay, I was going to ask, what about the dog?
I loved
Yeah.
Krypto.
The Krypto that I remember, first of all, I didn't like him in the comics either. But the Krypto that I remember was a kind of a big white dog, not a little yappy thing. And
Well, the story behind that. The Krypto in the movie is James Gunn's.
I know.
Yeah.
He made his dog into a
They just made him
movie
white. But that's his dog all the way down.
No, but actually there, depends upon which version, which reboot you're looking at. But actually he was Supergirl's dog.
Oh yeah.
So Gunn did follow that correctly, and that part of it was good. I just, in my mind, the way he could have fixed that from the very beginning, he could have said, "Look, I know I'm not your master. Your Supergirl will be here soon, but please help." Something that could have hinted that there was a new relationship between the two at the very beginning. Would have been.
He said he's more of a rescue dog. Remember?
But it doesn't. You don't have any sense of time. You don't, and rescue implies ownership.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a sense of connection. And I mean, personally, I was like, okay, it was fun at first, but I got tired of him. I'm like, okay, enough with the dog.
He kind of was in it more than I thought he was going to be, but I was okay with the dog. I'll tell you why. It was something new. We hadn't seen that before.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I didn't hate him. I thought that
I didn't either.
Yeah, I wish they would have pulled back a little bit more. I understood. I wish there was a little bit that they wouldn't have portrayed him as being so disobedient. I wish they would have given him a little bit more intelligence, which at some point, obviously he says, "Hey, go fetch the toy," and then he figured it out. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more there. But I actually liked it at the beginning when you heard when he was running towards Superman, and you can just hear the ground shaking and stuff.
Well, okay, so I was wondering, why was he running? Because in the comic books, Krypto can fly.
Well, he can fly, but it would have been more impactful if we hadn't seen it in the trailer, right? Like the first scene.
That could go for so many movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I was fine with
that's a topic all by itself.
Right.
It's just the excessive, it's almost Hollywood is so afraid that people are not going to see their movies that they're basically showing the entire thing as a
whole other topic.
That's one rabbit trail. We can pick that one back up. But okay, so
I will say that on James Gunn's Superman film, the thing that I think is the main positive is, and this is hard to get right, he cast the movie really well. He paced the movie really well. He had a plan for a beginning, a middle, and an end, and he launched the new DC universe. And it had to be successful, or all these other projects would have been in jeopardy. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, well, and as far as casting goes, I will add, since we're talking about that I thought that Lex Luthor was immediately dislikable in the way he was in the way he was supposed to be. I thought that was really well done. I hated him from the get-go, you know.
Yeah.
There was one scene that I felt like was perfect, and he did, Nick Holt did beautiful, was when it was near the end of the fight where, you know, Superman was dying and, you know, his clone was revealed, and it just shows him just looking at it going 1, 2, 3, you know, whatever the fights were. And you could just see that look in his face of how
he had lost it to his rage.
Dude, it was almost, I hesitate to say this, but he was almost like getting some like sexual high off of the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to.
And
that the guy's sick in his head.
Right, yeah. But it was that scene in my mind when I saw that, I said, "Okay, that is Lex Luthor."
Yeah,
he captured him. Yeah. He was great, and up to that role, I just thought he was almost kind of like a whiny. Oh, he's an alien. But at that point, you could see no, this was really deep seated. Jealousy and hatred.
How about the surprise of Miss Tessmacher actually using her social media as a smart way to share what his plan was? That was pretty fun.
I love that, but I just couldn't tell, was that intentional or was that unintentional?
That's kind of good writing, because
you don't know.
If it's intentional, she's much smarter than people think she is.
Or she's much smarter than she's letting on.
Yeah,
she acts like a complete dope. Yeah. Is she really called Miss Tessmacher? Is she actually?
That's the character's name is Eve Tessmacher. Yeah.
Oh, see, okay. I wasn't even very familiar with her. I was kind of wondering who she was, to be honest.
Well, that was from the original
Valerie Perrine character from the original Superman.
Oh,
it's from the Donner movie. Yeah.
Since we've been talking about casting, and since we need a segue, Pedro Pascal.
Oh, forget it.
I really have a lot of fatigue for Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I am. Beside Fantastic Four, there's 2 more movies at the theater at the same time with that dadgum chevron mustache Pedro Pascal. I'm so tired of that stupid. Can't he have shaved that to play Mr. Fantastic? He doesn't.
Tell us what you really think, Ledger Maker.
I'm so with tired of him.
Me too. I am just so burned out, and I will admit at this point I am very biased against him because of all the shenanigans he pulled in Mandalorian, where he wanted to take his helmet off against the Creed and everything, and his ego is what was the catalyst for an awful, following episodes even into season 3 was driven by that. So I feel that against him. Yeah, so I have a little bit of axe to grind with him on that.
I loved him in Game of Thrones. I liked him in The Mandalorian season 1. I'm okay with him in The Last of Us, the first season, but now I'm completely tired of him.
Yeah.
Well,
and just to back to specifically what we were talking about, I think he was miscast. I don't think he makes a good Reed Richards.
Yeah,
whether we like him or whether we don't, I think he was miscast.
They've had a hard time casting Reed Richards well.
I
thought John. I'm blanking on his name.
The guy from The Office.
Yeah. I thought he did. I liked him.
Yep, I agree because Reed Richards has a vibe of being super intelligent, a little bit aloof, but also
he has gravity.
Oriented.
Yeah, he has gravity, and Pedro Pascal just didn't.
Well, the other thing is, to Fantastic Four, his power is goofy. The stretching your body power.
Well, and speaking of that, I was kind of thinking to myself, we didn't really see him use his power that much.
Right.
And I would
rarely.
I don't know. I don't know this. I have nothing to base this on except for a gut hunch. I'd be willing to bet that there was something in there about they couldn't represent Pedro Pascal with CG any more than a certain amount. And
Probably.
so they couldn't do the stretchy stuff.
Well,
they probably didn't want to make him seem ridiculous or something.
When Galactus picked him up and started stretching him, I swear to God, I thought that he was going to snap him like a rubber band and snap him across the city or something. I would have laughed if he had done that.
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
I was actually, can you just make it break?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to
Well, okay, but speaking, sorry, go ahead, Rex. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna. It was to the point to where he was constantly self-doubting. He just didn't. If you read the comics, which I read, he did not embody that character very well. It's just like he just took a role on. Okay, he's a scientist. He's super smart. He invents a lot of cool stuff, and that's it. He didn't really get to all of the. Hey, you know what? He's also an action guy. He doesn't shy away from conflict. He'll go and how many times have we seen those little illustrations where he wraps up the people and he's constantly using his powers to resolve an issue or something, whereas here he was just like, oh, I should have thought about that, or no, I got to think that it's my fault. And I'm like, oh my god.
All that being said about him, I did like the casting on the other three characters in the fan.
I did too. Yeah, I actually really like the Invisible Girl. To be honest,
I thought she was the best casting of the four of them. Followed by the Thing. Agree. I'm kind of 50-50 on Johnny Storm, but I didn't like the way they wrote the character for that one because he just wasn't brash enough. He wasn't hot-headed enough.
Toned down a little.
Exactly, too toned down. And Johnny Storm is an overconfident hothead, which is why he catches on fire.
He's a little more the way Chris Evans played him in the
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans did a really good job.
Yep, he was excellent. Even in when he came back in the Deadpool versus Wolverine movie, that when he kind of came back as the Torch, it was like, oh my god, he's perfect in that role. And so I was really disappointed. I thought that that I don't know who was responsible for the makeup for Johnny. I was thinking the same. His hair looked weird color. He had contacts. He's got brown eyes. Yeah, so the blue contacts look weird, and then he didn't really portray the character right. He wasn't. I don't know. He was
okay. So tell me this. Then we all just we went right past it, but we all just kind of agreed that we liked the casting for Susan Storm. What made that work so well?
The actress knows how to act.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
There's something about her face. I thought she has a very interesting face.
She projects gravitas and intelligence really well.
She did. She did communicate intelligence. I felt like at a certain time, you got hints of girl boss in the way she was portrayed. I'm like, all right, well, Sue Storm is independent. She's intelligent, but she's also more of, I mean, the three guys at times seemed like they were fumbling around, and then the girl had to come save the day. And how many times have we seen that story?
I was glad though that they didn't overdo it. They didn't.
Like I said, it was touching on it. It wasn't all the way, but you got hints of that. And
that film, the Fantastic Four film, could have been far worse. I thought it was pretty good.
True.
I thought
and before we get away from it, I will say probably my favorite part and Rex probably sees this one coming a mile away. My favorite part about the movie was finally seeing a comic accurate Galactus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Galactus character is extremely cool.
Yeah, it was the CGI in Galactus was actually the CGI in this movie. All of the different vehicles and just the whole vibe.
Fantastic car is so cool.
Yeah,
I'm on a scale.
I love the fact that they had it placed in the '60s, like another universe.
Legend Maker, did you see the Fantastic Car popcorn bucket?
Yes. I did. Yeah, I was looking at it. I thought, I'm waiting for the real. I want like something out of.
You want a model.
Yeah. Did you see the Galacticus popcorn bucket?
I have to tell you that dang thing sold out immediately. I was reading an article. It sold out immediately, and so Regal decided, okay, we're going to do one round of pre-orders, and then we're retiring the bucket. And I broke down and ordered one.
Yeah, but that
I want to see you wear it next time.
Well, you have to admit, out of all the different kind of merchandise popcorn buckets, in my opinion, that is by far the best one out there.
That one is over the top. It's over the top.
Better than the Dune Sandworm?
Well,
way better.
They have weirdness to it, but Galactus was actually cool.
Did you see the Mission Impossible one?
No.
No.
Had like
What
a
was that?
combo lock on it. It had like these lights that lit up inside and all kinds of stuff.
So basically, you can't
Tom
figure out how to get to
Cruise's
your popcorn until the end of the movie.
It wasn't Tom Cruise's head staring at you.
Oh my gosh.
No, it was just sort
Okay.
of.
Thanks,
well, another thing.
Thanks, Mensa boy. That's in my head now.
Well, there was another thing.
It hands you a Scientology pamphlet.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
No. So let's move
this kind of comes out
on.
of the bucket.
Yeah. Moving on. Let's talk about the Silver
Moving
Surfer.
along.
Yeah. The Silver Surfer.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Silver Surfette.
I don't know.
Change the gender. I don't get it.
I didn't hate her. I just think that they sort of kept with what's his name? Nord,
yeah. I'm there too. It's like I didn't hate her, but I thought the switch was totally unnecessary.
I mean, is there a female Silver Surfer in the comic?
Yes. But
Okay.
it's only from the modern, after they reboot the series like 5 times, then they brought back the a lady, trying to, I guess fit with whatever the.
And they used her name. They used her name, the same name that's in the comics, which I
Shala Ball. But I mean, the thing about it is that before that, when Norrin Radd was still the Surfer, but not still Galactus's Herald, Johnny Storm's girlfriend, Frankie Ray, became Galactus's Herald, and she was also in this, shiny body thing, but her hair was like flamed. And I'm like, if you want to use a female character for that, use her.
Yeah, I 100% with you on that.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that because they were trying. I figured that they were, maybe like looking for a way to, give him something to do, and because he's kind of like chasing. He's kind of digs her a little bit, right?
Yeah, I don't care if you don't. I don't care if you don't use the Surfer. I mean, I don't care if you want a female figure there. Fine, but like go use Frankie Ray. That was her name, Frankie Ray. Go use her. Yeah, don't just switch the gender for the hell of it. I mean, come on.
That's what I felt like. I couldn't care as long as she had an interesting story, which they tried to show it.
Yeah,
and I kind of got it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I just felt like, what was wrong with the original Silver Surfer? He was cool in that last movie. The last movie.
I liked him in that one, The Rise of the Silver Surfer. I liked how they portrayed him. Yeah. You know what I just found out the other day, and this is probably, y'all are going to probably be like, what, you didn't know that? Is that I didn't realize that Lawrence Fishburne did his voice.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, no.
Doug Jones played the body. Lawrence Fishburne did the voice.
Had no idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
In fact, that Doug Jones prosthetic body thing was amazing. It looked great on camera because he was really physically there.
Yeah. I see stuff like that, and I'm like, how are you not sweating yourself to death?
Yeah.
But he's been wearing latex for 30 years. He's okay with it.
This rendering of this new Silver Surfer looked a little like, almost like they didn't like soften her edges or something. I mean, she looked a little sharp and like unfinished or something. Just didn't look right to me.
You mean like too detailed, like
the rendering?
Yeah,
okay. It's like, I guess it was her hair or something, or her face just looked a little wrong.
Yeah, her eyes, the way they rendered her eyes, they seemed a little small, and then the way the hair was rendered seemed like, one of those fake dolls or something.
Well, the funny thing is that actress, I love that actress.
Great actress, yeah.
But I've always hated her hair.
Well,
she always shows up with this curly hair. Everything I see her in, I always think, God, I cannot stand her hair.
Yeah, she was terrific in Ozark.
Ozark is where I first saw her, and I thought, oh man, she's really good.
I can't remember the name.
You know what I'm just sitting here thinking of is Harrison Ford talking about a conversation with Mark Hamill. Like, hey kid, if they're talking about our hair, we're in big trouble. Talking about our hair.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Well, another rabbit hole, which is something that I noticed from I'm not really good with the names here, but the actress who played Sue Storm, she was in the Mission Impossible series, and I noticed this after watching those movies, and it was something that someone had mentioned. They said, "Why are her eyes always bloodshot?" And I never really paid attention, but then here in the Fantastic Four movie, I noticed several times, why are her eyes so bloodshot?
She has chronic dry eye syndrome, like Troy Aikman.
I think so. But it was something that I got sensitized to, and then when I'm watching the movie, I'm staring at her eyes, going, "Why, man?
By the way, the actress we were talking about saying it was Julia Garner. That's the actress.
Okay.
That's the Silver Surfer, yeah.
I wonder the same thing about
no, Sue Storm. Sue Storm was the one.
Sue Storm was I gotta look her up too.
It doesn't really matter.
She was in a couple of things.
I wonder the same thing about Nicole Kidman every time I see her. It's like, why are her eyes always look like somebody just poked her in the eyeballs?
Okay, Rick Quasar started on her.
Oh yeah, don't. Yeah, I am so sick of that pre or whatever that.
All right, yeah, I know. We all are. Trust me, we all are. It's like, no, we're not here to listen to you talk. Would you like skip this part and play the movie?
Well, it's her opinion doesn't have any weight or influence. It's like AMC probably paid her so much money. They said, well, we know it, she sucks, but we're going to get our money's worth. So we're going to drag this thing out for the next 10 years.
Yeah, they need to retire that.
I think they're just preparing us for the new cinema projection system that will be shown on her forehead for the next
Yeah, well, it's plastic enough. It ought to.
All right. Rabbit trail, enough rabbit trail. I'm looking at the clock. We got about eight or 10 minutes left. So I'm going to come back around to my question because that'll give us a little bit of time to talk about it. If you had to pick one superhero themed movie, what would be your favorite?
Can I go first?
You go first.
Yeah, because we don't know what you're going to say.
Without a doubt, without hesitation, absolutely loved it then, love it now, will love it in the future. Richard Donner's Superman. Loved it.
Yeah, I would expect that. And what is it? What is it? I mean, obviously it's a classic. I mean, we all agree on that one.
It's perfect casting for the lead. It's a screenplay that has a plan for the beginning, the middle, and the end. It broke ground as far as visual effects at the time. You hadn't seen a lot of that. You believed the man can fly, so it even had a great marketing campaign. And it delivered on expectations on something that was incredibly difficult to pull off because there had been so many kind of bad superhero things before that. I mean, you had George Reeves' TV show, you had Kirk Alyn's movie serials, you had Adam West campy Batman, and then you get that thing, which was like,
y'all are more have typically been more into this movie than I have. I agree with you, but the thing that kind of strikes me about it is that in that movie in particular, Christopher Reeve inhabited the character so well.
Yeah, he did it. He was the best special effect in the movie. Was his performance. He was.
I think there was an unspoken element that I really haven't seen in a long time. Is that the soundtrack, John Williams soundtrack to that movie?
That was a masterpiece soundtrack.
That's right. It just captured the essence of the character and was a character itself in the movie that it's iconic and it's very
it refuses to go away. James Gunn used it again. That's how
we're gonna have to talk about soundtracks in one of these podcasts. All right, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So that was mine. I'll let you guys go.
I would agree. I would agree with you, Menza Boy, on Superman the movie. Probably. I mean, I really liked. There's like one or two MCUs that I really like a lot, and there's some others that would compete with it. But I guess part of the reason is because we're old, and Superman came out at a time when there wasn't anything like it, just like Star Wars did. It came out in '78, I think. It was.
78, Christmas.
And there was no CGI. There were no special effects like that. Everything was practical effects. And I think they had to invent green screen for that movie, right? They
invented the Zoptic system, which was a way to artificially do optical zooms without the background having to be in they created a couple of technologies for that.
Yeah, because before that, blue screen was a thing, but they couldn't use a blue screen with a suit. They had to invent a green screen, right?
Well, yes and no. There were some color correction challenges when they were shooting. So he kind of had a turquoise suit for some of the blue screen stuff.
Yeah.
They just did some color correction. But it has, I mean, look, some of those effects kind of don't quite hold up. But
I'm going to go watch Star Wars. Good Lord.
Yeah.
But it's still a game changer.
It was Christopher Reeve's performance that put that over the top.
He was very, very good in that. And I would say, the whole movie felt epic, and all of the characters were so much like the comics that I remember at the time, because that was back when I was reading comics. It was the '70s. I don't read comics ever since about the 1981 to I'd stopped reading them. And except for once in a while, Rex Quasar gives me one and I read it. But I just don't read them much. And at that time, it just felt like the characters that I remember in the comic leaped right out onto the screen, and there they were, exactly the way that they're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Well, since you're talking there, Legend Maker, why don't you go next?
Well, that was it. Superman.
Oh, that was yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll take it. I'll do the next one. So I agree with Menzaboy, Legend Maker. If there was only one movie, that for me, it's going to be the Richard Donner Superman. But along those lines, if there was one movie that I felt like best represented a comic book hero character, although Michael Keaton Batman comes close, I think Iron Man with
Robert Downey
the first one.
Robert Downey Jr. is
that's a good
the
one.
first one.
Robert Downey Jr. has pretty much defined Tony Stark for
that's right.
He was another very perfectly cast for
that's an
right.
excellent 1B to the 1A.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he does as Victor Von Doom, since everybody sees him as Tony Stark. Although I'm not 100% sure he's not going to be Tony Stark. But anyway, that's another conversation.
Another universe.
Well, there's all kinds of little trickery they're going to do with that. But that would be the second one. And I was struggling with Chris Evans as, the first Avenger, Captain America. I felt like that was good, but
he did do a good job.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
He did
Chris Hemsworth was also amazing Thor, the first one.
Yeah.
So
until they nerfed him.
Yeah,
they did
I'm trying to say the first iterations because, there were some, even Robert Downey Jr. had some, questionable performances, but I'm trying to go by which actors best portrayed the comic book character that really nailed it. And that's why I think the MCU launched so well, was because their primary characters really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, all the way until they got to the Captain Marvel, and
that's when the wheels started to come off.
Well, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye.
Oh, they started before that. That's just when they did come off.
Yeah,
I've never been a big fan of Hawkeye. To me, he's just a normal human with it, who can shoot a bow. But when you run out of arrows, it's just kind of like, all right, what else now? And then Black Widow. Okay.
Well, but before you move past that, I wound up liking the character of Hawkeye more after Jeremy Renner portrayed him than I did before.
Yeah, so he did a good job with.
I like the actor.
Well, you like the personality, but the character itself isn't.
Well, he's not as bombastic as the rest of them. Yeah,
he's a secondary character.
Yeah.
What about yours?
It's the Green Arrow problem. It's the same thing as Green Arrow. There's really no difference in the sense that they're just. It's a character based around a guy who shoots arrows, and so you've got to deal with how do you make that cool.
Although we haven't talked television much, the Green Arrow television show.
We might have to actually come back to television because you're right, we never did touch on that.
What was yours, Phantom 6? What's your number one?
Okay, so y'all know me well enough to know that if I was the obvious choice for me would be the Dark Knight trilogy, right? But
okay,
that's not what I'm going to say. And this might come a little bit out of left field, but I mean, if I had to pick one, because it's odd that, I loved Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman, but I'm in awe. I still am in awe of Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker in the second one. That was just brilliant, but that's still not what I'm going with. If I had to pick one movie that I felt like really nailed the superhero feeling of the comic it was portraying, I would go with The Watchmen.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
Because
I think that's pretty accurate because that graphic novel felt a lot like that movie all the way down.
I read the whole novel and I've watched the whole movie multiple times, and it did, especially the extended version, I thought was a little slow because they tried to include all of the parts of the novel. I mean, of the graphic novel, and it started to drag a little, that extended version. But
nothing's perfect, but I love the way that Dr. Manhattan was portrayed. I love the way that Rorschach was portrayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two were okay.
Rorschach was great.
They nailed the casting on all
yeah,
of it.
but Osmondas and Owlmead or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. They were okay. Dr. Manhattan was the best out of the whole thing, and I don't know. Everybody has their own preference.
That one,
actually, I like that you went a little different direction there, Phantom 6.
Yeah, and it's I'm not saying that I'm not saying I'm thinking that necessarily it's the best one. I'm just saying that's the one that sticks in my mind.
Yeah.
You know?
I kind of look
the page.
But I look at it like, which of these movies could you watch over and over? And
I would watch The Watchmen again. I would definitely watch.
I've already watched Watchmen maybe 5 times.
I'd watch it again. Yeah.
Yeah, I would stay for a scene and then dump it.
The TV series,
but I would watch Heath Ledger's Joker anytime you wanted to. That's just it's so good.
That's the only Oscar-winning performance out of all these.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the only Joker that I liked even a little more than, every other version of Joker I just didn't like. Well,
that's the thing. I don't like the Joker as a character because he laughs at people's pain. That just rubs me the wrong way from the get-go.
Well,
right?
Yeah. But that's what makes him an interesting villain.
I think the Joker is the
but that was the thing about Heath Ledger's Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker was more of an agent of chaos. It's not that he really liked watching people in distress.
Yeah.
He was just chaos.
The thing about his character is you never knew his true origin, which made him creepier.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like that though. I wish they would have just one little tiny scene showing him getting cut or something to actually.
That's brilliant.
No. I think
that caused the schism.
I think that was a little bit of a brilliant choice and the right choice because it left you with that unsettled. I don't know where this guy came from feeling.
It's like not showing the shark from Jaws.
Yeah, that's a right. They did that. They did that very purposely. They wanted him to be ambiguous in that way.
But he just kind of showed up out of nowhere. I mean, I loved his performance. I loved. That The Dark Knight was the best out of all 3 of those, but I did. It left me with more questions about that character where I really wanted to understand his beef with Batman, and I just
always leave him wanting more, man.
That's right.
But that was the thing. He showed up out of nowhere, but he landed like a freaking bomb.
Well, there was a plan before Heath Ledger died. There was a plan for him to play a big part in the next film. So that's sad.
I honestly, that 3rd film, although there were parts of it I liked, but it was I just think they made wrong decision. I didn't like that they jumped forward all these years and Batman's kind of.
The 3rd film had some challenges.
I'm not a big fan of how it ended with Batman. Bruce Wayne sitting on the sidewalk of a French. He's not going to retire. Batman does not retire. I'm sorry.
I actually kind of liked that part myself because it was unexpected and they set it up like he died and he didn't, and I just kind of was like, if anybody deserves to kind of get away from it, it's Batman.
Well, okay, but as long as we're talking about Batman, one of the more successful scenes, I think we're all going to agree on this one too, is the warehouse fight scene.
Oh, amazing.
And of all movies, Batman versus Superman.
That was the best 3 minutes of Batman that's ever been put on.
That was Ben Affleck did such a good job with just looking like a really tough.
Yeah, too bad the rest of the film was a mess, but I love that part.
Yeah, exactly.
But just his willingness to really, fight, violence with violence and just the brutality of him fighting and just the choreography of that fight scene. It was amazing. And that would be, if someone said, hey, what's your favorite Batman fight scene? Hands down, that would be it. Out of all the movies, that would be the one.
No question.
When that one goon shoots him point blank range in the back of the head and he just sort of whips around and punches him.
Well, he does, he goes, he makes, he feels the pain.
Yeah.
But I also like when the dude pulls a hand grenade on him, and it's almost like he's like, okay, so generally speaking, Batman doesn't kill, but it's in that moment he was kind of like, okay, if you're going to play that game, I will too, and he kicks it in, and somebody died when the hand grenade went off, but that was like, he's like, okay, if you're going to play this way, so will I.
Yeah.
Well, he had just machine gunned a bunch of people from the planes. But yes, I hear
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But also the part where it says where the guy was the terrorist was saying, I'll do it, believe me, and Affleck says, I believe you, and then shoots the tank.
Yeah.
Just who knew that just the words "Save Martha."
Oh,
no! Don't go there. Don't go there.
Yeah,
we're talking about the things that we like about about this particular scene.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
Martha
is,
thing died away. God.
Those magic words triggered the best fight scene we had seen for Batman.
Yeah. Like I said,
thanks for that, Rex. I didn't put those two together. Now I'm like,
the rest of the movie had some challenges. I did like,
okay, but at the same time, of course, this was the Justice League, not Batman versus Superman. As far as scenes that I really liked was the Flash when he was trying to outflank Superman, and Superman looked at him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. And Superman
motion eye
turns and his eyeballs kind of look over.
Yeah.
And the Flash is like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. That was that's
cool.
Because I think we all secretly harbored somebody wanted to smack that Flash.
Right?
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah,
that could be.
Actor, I forgot what his name is. I couldn't say him. I didn't like the way he portrayed the Flash, and I was really enjoying seeing Superman knock him around. So
I wasn't much of a fan of that. There was some parts so I was like, okay, and then the other parts was like, oh no, just no.
I thought was a little funny, but that actor is just annoying.
And they ended his run horribly, so done with that.
Yeah, that's
speaking of being done with that.
Yeah, I think we're done.
We are at about an hour. Any closing thoughts on anything? What's coming up? Anything? What's coming in the movies next?
I have some optimism about comic movies getting better again now.
There's all this. There's a fatigue that's going on too. I've heard people talk about comic book fatigue, but I keep telling them it's because it's fatigue for bad stories and bad writing.
Iron Man came out in 2008. That was the beginning of this modern comics movie revolution, and it's been almost 20 years. It's been 17 years now. But the thing that I think that's a reason to feel better is it seems like the MCU's getting back to what made them good, and it seems like James Gunn has some good ideas on the DC side of it. And
I hope they do, but I mean, it's my daughter and I were talking about this. It's like they've killed off the characters that made the genre great. So now what are they going to do?
I think you're going to see a
multiverse.
You're going to see those characters come back.
And this is another thing we got to have a whole conversation about. It's like, if Doctor Who can recast and recast and recast and recast, why can't they recast other comic book characters? Why is that off limits?
Because Doctor Who has the power.
No, I know that. I know that. I get that. But just as far as a plot device.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some
That's
recasting.
the multiverse.
The multiverse is going to allow the recasting.
Yeah, that's got to be where, this the whole Doctor Doom is going to come from. Has got to be some kind of rift or whatever. And now this guy is.
Now we got the Fantastic Four flying into the Thunderbolts at the end.
When they unlocked the multiverse concept for both sides of the comic world, then it was anything goes.
That's how they're moving Peacemaker out of one DC universe into the other.
That's right. He's the only holdover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say looking forward, I am looking forward to seeing season 2 of Peacemaker. I am looking forward to Lanterns. I mean, I'm just hoping and praying that they're going to do it right, because the Green Lantern universe is so deep and it's so filled with characters and stories and
it's completely underdeveloped. I mean, they haven't been, aside from
they tripped on their toe with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, they tripped on that one, which was a kind of a meh movie. I thought I didn't.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess.
I've kind of gotten the sense that the theaters are afraid of the cosmic element. Period.
Yeah,
it's like they don't know what to do with it.
Well, look what happened with Ant-Man Quantumania. It was a bit of a mess.
No, I would disagree with that. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. That was cosmic. Look how
no. Well, that was great, but they haven't been able to reproduce that.
But Green Lantern, the whole Green Lantern saga is on that cosmic level, and
I would love to see that. I would love to see something like that come again because I love the Guardians. Those were all three. I liked them.
I did too.
So if they do it right, then I really feel like they're going to do it well, because the thing that I really enjoy, like I'm a big Green Lantern fan. I've got all the run forever. I mean, my comic book run of that is insane. But that is the Green Lanterns are basically police, and they have detective stories where I mean, there's so many different levels of storytelling that they could do that no one has had in what, and I'm going to use this in a very aggressive way, imagination to be able to and courage to bring that forward in a good way without using it as some propaganda thing. And the reason why the Ryan Reynolds movie didn't work was because they literally took 3 separate successful Green Lantern story arcs and crammed them into a 2-hour movie, and all 3 arcs have very separate, you know, catalyst and resolutions. So
that sounds like Hollywood.
Yeah, that's why it failed. It wasn't because, I mean, the universe was amazing, the effects were amazing. It's just you can't try to tell 3 sagas into such a 2-hour, you know, movie and an origin story. It was set up for failure in the beginning, and it's a shame because the character is going to be amazing, and we'll see how things go.
Well, if Green Lantern hadn't failed, we would not have gotten Deadpool.
Well, but even Deadpool had to go back and shoot himself.
Yeah, he had to go back and shoot him.
But remember,
which was a great moment.
He was already playing Deadpool. He was playing, you know.
I know the Wolverine.
We got to wrap this up. We're pushing time. So, all right, thanks, y'all. And we'll be back again. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. So, good heaven knows what we're going to pull up next. But there's never a shortage of stuff for us to gripe about. So,
we'll see you next time.
This is Phantom 6. I'm out.
Mensa Boy checking out.
Yep, and please comment and tell us what. Oh, are we?
He really checked out.
Yeah, he really checked out. He needs a Run P app or something for this Pondercast.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, also I just wanted to say, just please, you know, comment and tell us what you think about.
Tell us what you think.
That's right. What are your favorite superhero movies? What are your favorite scenes?
What worked? What didn't?
Yeah. And you know, as far as just all the other elements, supporting characters, the soundtracks, what are your favorites? I would love to hear what other people say.
And we'll see you guys out there in geekdom.
Bye.
Bye.